A very good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for what promises to be an enlightening and impactful discussion. It's a privilege to be here, believe me, with such a distinguished panel. You just heard Janani and the audience coming from various organizations, all gathered to explore a topic of profound significance. Redefining talent acquisition by focusing on second career women and their invaluable contributions to a dynamic workforce. Having been a second career woman myself, twice in my span of 3 decades of career, I can speak with a lot of experience. The traditional view of talent acquisition often focuses on attracting talented, youngest, and newest entrants to the job market. Yet, we are witnessing a remarkable shift as organizations begin to recognize this immense value of experienced professionals who are embarking on second careers. These women bring with them a wealth of knowledge, seasoned skills, and a fresh perspective that can be transformative for our workplaces. So, the concept of a second career is not merely a continuation of a professional journey, it represents for the woman a reinvention and an opportunity for these women to leverage their extensive experience in new and exciting ways. Their return to the workforce is not just a personal milestone, but a strategic advantage for companies like yourselves, aiming to build that diverse, resilient, and forward thinking teams. So, our panelists today, you just heard their wealth of experience. They're thought leaders in this field, each of them bringing unique insights and experiences. They will help us understand the benefits of this talent pool and how we can better align our hiring practices with the evolving needs of our workforce. Can effectively attract, support, integrate second career women into our organizations. Now, as we embark on this discussion, let's challenge ourselves to think beyond conventional boundaries and consider how we can reshape our approach to talent acquisition. By doing that, we not only enhance our organizations but also contribute to a more equitable and dynamic job market. So, without further ado, let me get the discussion going. So, my first question is going to be a common question in a round robin manner to all the panelists. What have been the visible advantages of implementing second career or career returnship programs? I'd request Hema Byrappa to go first, please.
Am I audible? Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good afternoon, good evening to all and the esteemed panelists. I really appreciate all our commitment coming together and supporting the cause that Avtar also believes in very strongly. And that is, hiring second career women and providing more and more opportunity and building a dynamic workplace. Did I go on mute? Just let me know if I'm inaudible. And I'm sorry for the video. There have been some glitches. I'm logging in from my phone, if that's okay. Great. Thank you so much. And to begin with, I think this is a very fantastic topic and a question that you started off with, right? What are the visible advantages that one could see? And in our own workplace, let me talk about that. I think GE Appliances has been very, very intentional in its approach of hiring, when it comes to second career women, and we don't believe in probably charting out a program and say this is how we are, this is what we are going to call it. And yes, it's very fantastic to have interesting names and all of that, but then the thought process here was to say that why do we want a separate program? Why can't it be our way of thinking, our way of working, our, why can't it be in our DNA that we do it without having to call out, that this is how we are going to do it, and we be intentional about every hire that we are going to make, and every job posting that we are going to put up there is open for a second career, a woman who's going to be approaching. And more importantly, so to say that our hiring criterias are not going to limit us if this person is going to come from a second career or has had a career break or probably is coming from. And actually, with all of the biases that we have, one of the very important elements that we also tell our hiring managers and hiring panels is that we cannot have this kind of a bias also. And so, irrespective of what background they come with and what breaks they bring in, and that also needs to be looked at with a merit, is what we say. And that's how we've made it very, very intentional. So, having said that, what is it that we have seen on the ground? I think, GE Appliances, with the name You all know that this is a 100-year-old organization, or probably more than that. And I don't know how, with that kind of experience, we've definitely seen a lot of women who come into the workforce and probably have taken a break or dropped down from the workforce, right? And the advantage is also one other element, that we've had continuation of some other colleagues who have seen them in action. Why can't we call them back? Why can't we float these referrals? Why can't we talk to our existing people on the floor to see if they know of any of their female colleagues who have dropped off and who would want to come back? So that kind of a referral approach is something that we take. Now, having said that, when they come on board, we've also seen great advantages. Again, right, that camaraderie, of having worked with each other earlier, having known the work culture earlier, having known what is expected, having known, what is also not expected, right? Certain rules and regulations. And so we don't have to go back and tell them what it is like to be in the workplace and what it is not like to be in the workplace. So I think it becomes a lot more easier for us. But the energy that they bring on the table is what I would like to definitely talk about. And that's really vivacious, with the interest that they want to make it really a conscious choice that they have made. They really want to make it better, right? And that energy rubs on to other people. So that's like, that's something that I have always seen on the floor, which is so good. And I think this is one reason I would like to definitely vouch for this program, that it's always good to get back, second career women who bring that energy, who bring that fresh thought process combined with what it was like earlier, right? And make our organization the same and the stronger, and probably even more better, even more stronger, even more motivated workforce that it can become, and even more diverse thought process. Now they come with very interesting mindset, having seen some other challenges. They come with multitasking abilities now. So added, the more the better. That's what I would say. I've seen these advantages very visually on the floor. Back to you, Usha, if that helps.
Thank you, Hema. I think a powerful learning there. First, you spoke about the challenges that the TA team would speak into would go through in terms of unconscious biases, non-conscious biases,
Yeah.
even during the hiring process. And the advantage, very visibly, you said, is the shorter learning curve for women
Yeah.
who've been on a break, who come in, because it's nothing new. You just slip in into. I mean, even if you've taken a break for a couple of years or a couple of months, whatever, you just slip into work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
Absolutely.
the learning curve is short, and your experience says that they contribute positively to the culture and the atmosphere in the office. Thank you so much for sharing that, Hema. Can I
Thank you.
request Divya Saravanan to go next, please?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody, and hello to the panel, and 65 of them from the same fraternity that we all belong, mostly. Before answering that question, I think I would like to, structure my response by starting, what does a career break for a woman mean, quote unquote, some of the percentages and what has been the finding, and then what are the advantages for an employer and for an employee with this program. So to start with, I think career breaks, which are otherwise a great tool to take out time for self, family, study, or travel, is not the same for most women. Right? For them, even today, to take a career break means taking time off of maternity or take care of growing children or elders, courtesy to the patriarchal society that we live in, and bringing it us up. These important responsibility around child care, elder care, children, domestic chores, these are unending emotional efforts that the women go through into holding a family together, and often gets unrecognized. It is still considered as unpaid and doesn't even account in our GDP today. Right? And according to a very famous research done by World Bank, 20 million Indian women quit jobs, um, and around 70% of that are women who quit jobs who don't return at all. In India, women account for about 25% of workforce, while the irony is that every organization, leaders are behind talent acquisition to increase their female footprint by 40%, where in the market it is just 25% women who are available. right? And these people take career breaks, and these numbers speaks very loudly for themselves, and it is a huge untapped market that is available for organization to harness, right, these population. Now, going to the advantages, visible advantages, I would start with what are advantages for an employer. Morgan Stanley has been piloting this program for the last 10 years. We had our 10th cohort this year. It's a milestone year for us. And over the past several years, what we have, I would like to categorize 5 advantages for employer and 5 advantages for employee. The first advantage for an employer, we thought that it has an access to an experienced talent. This program taps into a pool of professionals which has substantial prior experience, often leading to higher productivity and efficiency. Enhance diversity. This group of people contribute to a workforce diversity by bringing in individuals from variety of background and life experiences, which cannot be quantified sometimes. Reduce training cost. Experienced professional often requires less training time and can quickly adapt to the new role and a corporate environment. Fourth, positive company image. Obviously, offering a returnship program can enhance a company's reputation as an inclusive and supportive employer, which definitely Morgan Stanley has one of the core pillars as well. And last but not the least, retention. These programs have been absolutely proven to have improve companies employees loyalty and reduce the turnaround by providing opportunity of growth and the re-entry. Now moving on to the employees, employee opportunity to re-enter, no brainer at all. The more the career break, difficult for people to come and join the organization. But our program definitely provides a structured pathway for these individuals to re-enter after a career break. We have had career breaks people right from 2 years to 17 years as well. And, we have been successful in inducting them in the organization. Skill upgradation. These programs, we provide in-depth training and development for helping the participant upgrade their skill. The next point should have been my first, but confidence building. I think return to work through a structured program can boost a lot of confidence, which they would have lacked in their career break. Networking opportunities and flexibility and support. From a returnship program, we often offer flexible work arrangement support system tailored to the need till the time they are ready to start their full-fledged second career. So I would end by mentioning that, and I definitely want to kind of hold some of the points for any new questions that are coming my
Sure.
way.
Thank you, Divya Saravanan. I think the takeaway here has been that point that you touched upon on attrition, that we face low attrition from this pool of talent, this talent pool. That's food for thought, because attrition is something that we all battle with. You get talented people in, and after a point in time when they leave, there goes the time, effort, and then renewed time and effort to get another talent pool in. Thank you so much for that. Can I request Priyank Vajpai for his thoughts, please?
I should give it to you, Usha, that you came to me last after everyone spoke, and I got no more points to add. No, I'm the third. Okay, got it. Thank you.
We've got Divya Saigal to go.
I know Divya Saigal is left. Sorry.
Yes.
All right. Listen, I think I totally echo with what Hema, Divya, Saravanan said. For us at Mastercard, it's obviously about working towards our corporate responsibility, towards our D&I, and it also helps us tap into a talent pool which probably is not actively available. I mean, I know of a lot of people who come and join us after a break because we did some kind of session for them. So Mastercard does a lot of external events where we talk about promoting women on break. So we truly believe in it, that it's like we want to really give it back to the society, bring in people with diverse background, diverse experience, and with a renewed enthusiasm. So most of the people I've met, and we hire a lot of people when it comes to women in returnship program. And mind you, we don't run any kind of 6 months or 12 weeks kind of internship programs for them. While a lot of organization does, I got no problems with that, but we don't. We hire them as a full-time employee. They get assessed, they come in through a competitive process. And obviously, then we build on to their journey in the system, making sure they're inducted absolutely smoothly and help them wherever they're required through mentorship, through extended trainings and all of it. I think for me, the key takeaways are obviously, we want to really give back to the society. If I don't know, I was probably in college, or sorry, I was in school way back in 2020, and I'm really going 24 years back if I look at it. Wall Street faced such an issue where they could not really find people to work for them. And that's when they really started tapping into the returnship program. And that's what I believe the word phrase returnship came from. And since then, I really liked it. So when you are in part of talent acquisition, you really want to look at different avenues from where you can get your talent faster. And yeah, that also brings me to the point that obviously they are easily available and probably available to join us quicker. So let's not forget that talent acquisition bread butter runs on getting the right people at the right time. So I think there are a lot of advantages. We really contribute a lot to this program. We run various cohorts, various programs only to attract women in diversity. And we treat them similarly like what we do for our veterans. So we create an onboarding plan for them. I think it's been helping us really well because I don't think they're any different after 2 months of probably not being at work or not been working. In fact, I feel they come with a lot of composure, and the break can be for anything. I think across Atlantic Europe, 25% of people take a break every year, and can be due to whatever reason. And if I have to just come to India, can be probably one of the reasons can be going the family way or maybe on a vacation, learning new skills. I think they really outperform after a month or two because they got the right opportunity, right organization supporting them, and they believe in it. Second, I think they come with a lot of enthusiasm to really work hard and prove themselves after a break because I know when they go back to their family or whoever, they might be asking them how was your day, and they really want to go back to them and tell them that it's been great because I learned new things, and they come with right energy. I mean, that's a lot of benefits put in a package, and why not? I'm glad we are doing this conversation today. Thanks, Usha.
Yeah, thanks, Priyank. I think the takeaway from your conversation is, you know, treat people like the way you'd like to be treated, word of mouth, and keep repeating that so that you learn from the previous cohort. Keep repeating that and build that. I think the passion is coming out very, very clearly. Thank you so much for sharing. Over to you, Divya Saigal. Your thoughts, please.
Okay, since I'm going last, I'll try and give a different flavor. So we have in Publicis Sapient, we have a flagship program which is called Spring, and I think a lot of our tireless and dedicated focus has helped in terms of some advantages. One, what we found is that we have tripled the number of women returnees in the last 3 years that we've seen before. We see that the women who've joined after a break, sabbatical, are actually being very impactful. They're leading from the front and are pretty proud and happy with how they're doing. We've have a 98% of maternity return rate, and we have a strong alumni, which is a very valuable talent, and we see them joining back too. I think specifically what I've also observed in terms of advantages of a dedicated kind of effort in this space has been that the managers and the leaders shifts in that group. I see a lot of the leaders saying that we would want career attorneys in our team. The ask is there, and the ask is there because they're seeing the value with the kind of insights that are coming in, which help in better problem solving and eventually better outcome to our client. I'm seeing a shift in the kind of conversations that are happening. They're more kind of deeper, more EQ. I see a more emotional quotient coming in through the conversations. And another advantage is, I think that just that emotional connect, it has helped with, which is around, just the pride which the leaders, which you hear in the leader's voice or in the manager's voice when they share the success stories of the career attorneys. So I think that is where I feel some of the benefits have played out in dedicating and focusing in efforts in this space.
Lovely. Thank you, Divya. Divya, I'll come back to you a little later with a specific question. One specific question I have for Divya Saravanan is right at the beginning, and especially for those talent acquisition people, which is majority of the participants today. What have been the challenges the TA team typically faces at Morgan Stanley, and how have you addressed them to leverage the program?
Absolutely. I think this has been a journey for Morgan Stanley, but it still continues to be. So, first is business buy-in, right? This entire, while every business would have wanted to hire their resources like yesterday and play and plug resources, it is very difficult for us to give them the advantages, etc. So, business buy-in had always been an issue. And uh, other issue has been providing a supportive infrastructure for people who are coming in, like for example trainings. What is it that they would need, considering that they would have been rusty in their experiences? Right now, somebody who is on a career break for 2 years probably would be in touch, and I am talking about career women returnees specifically from a technology standpoint. You wink and a new tool would have launched, or a new version would have launched, and let go, let alone 2 3 years of career break or 10 years of career break, the world has changed. So providing them with a structural training, etc., has been a challenge. Over a past several years, we have been able to kind of put a team together, put internal trainings together with regards to what is necessary. We take help of few external vendors, etc. Most important thing is sensitizing the managers, or probably the group of people that they will be joining in at. Right now, sensitization is very important, because the team members or the managers will have to provide that conducive environment. Should not be there should not be any bias. It has to be into building an inclusive ecosystem for them. Stereotypes needs to be abolished. I think that was very important. And also, uh, I think, yeah, I think, see, somebody who's coming in from a returnee program, they would have not been using a lot of the technical tools, etc. So we looking at a local hiring manager. We are a global organization, but we wanted somebody in the office locally, wherever the returnee is situated, so that the person can go to. We had come up with a mentor where a person can go ahead and just be a sounding board. We over the years had challenges with regards to a buddy or somebody who can help. Right, so these were some of the things that we had faced earlier and we have overcome. But I think even today, not 100% Morgan Stanley participates in the return to work program. There are still some businesses which thinks that this cohort doesn't really bring the relevant experience. So we are still in the journey of getting 100% business participation. So those has been some challenges to say.
Yes, thank you, Divya. Having been on the business side myself, the task, the expectations from the TA team can be high and sometimes seem unfair that time, because
Yeah.
we know that some targets have to be met and we want the right people and we want them now. Yes, so thank you so much for sharing. Priyank, I'll come to you next. What factors have enabled the success of your second career program? Keeping in mind some of the constraints might be similar, like what Divya Saravanan shared.
No, of course, I think, and Usha, thank you for admitting that you've been harsh on talent acquisition teams when you were in business. So thank you for saying it. It means a lot to us. So now,
Absolutely.
no, I think it's similar. It's similar. It's just that we evolved so much over a period of time. Now you look at, I in the earlier conversation I spoke about, we also take care of their onboarding. Now let me just put myself in a talent acquisition shoe, start attracting people. So if I have to look at pillar called attract, I think some of the things which when we speak to these people, we clearly tell them that my team recognizes the skill gaps, understand where the skills can be used, where they cannot be used. So it's not like every business would hire someone who's on a internship program, especially if the gap is more than 3 or 4 years, it becomes a little more difficult. So let's all agree to it. That and Divya rightly said that in technology world, and we are one of the largest technology players We got the largest tech hub in India for Mastercard. I think there are skills which are probably just came in a year back or 6 months back, especially the ones which are supporting AI, ML, and all of it. But I think when we as a recruitment team speak to people who are on break, we do ask them, give them tips and tricks of how and what they should really prepare themselves for. We let them know what the business is expecting, what are the skills, or what is the daily usage of some of the applications which the person might have to do. We do a tick box activity saying that, for example, I can go as basic as, how good are you with Excel? When did you use it last? That's very basic, but we don't realize it because we probably have been using it every day for last 18 years. So it's probably easy for us. But of course, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm not generalizing it, but there are a lot of people out there who just loses touch. So we tell them that these are the things you might want to brush up on. I think the confidence of the hiring manager actually grows once they start meeting them, when they go through the interview rounds or assessment rounds. And remember, we are running a very competitive process. So just because you are on a break, or just because you belong to an X gender diversity, we are an equal opportunity employer. So you will have to go through the competitive process. Of course, we can handhold you as a counsel. We can counsel you on some of the things which might come up, which you might not be aware of, prepare you better for the interviews. And it's all in fairness. We do it to everyone. So, so it's not just you. So we make sure that go back, probably do some study about the organization, about the skills which they were doing earlier. Do they even exist today? And things like that. So we prepare them well, and that really makes it easy for us. And when I say easy, it's a journey. No one's perfect. So we'll probably realize something else after 2 months, and we'll build it while we fly. But I think these things will really help, and people on the call might also want to include it in their attraction strategy.
Right.
Thanks,
Great.
Usha.
Thanks, Priyank. I think what you said is what I'd like to place it back with you. Is being proactive. You know your customer, both the external customer who is the candidate who's going to join, and the internal customer who are your businesses. So yes, businesses tend to be, highly demanding. So perhaps I think this is, all of us being extremely senior here, is just to be aligned with the business goals. Know what are the targets they are chasing, which quarter they're going to get more people, which quarter is going to yield highest revenue, where the sales pressure is high, and clients coming in. So being aligned with the business goals actually will reduce the pressure on the TA team, is what my take on this is. So I would like to go to Divya Saigal now and ask you what are the models of second career hiring you've adopted, and how have these help improve your gender diversity at Publicis Sapient? So if you could also, if you can, touch upon the the ratios, and see and share with us if this particular model has helped you increase the gender diversity to some extent.
So I think first and foremost, what we've, in terms of, two aspects about our philosophy when we've thought about, the kind of program and the models we want to use. I think one is, as a company, our purpose is to help people thrive in the brave pursuit of next. And there I see a strong linkage, with that, which is to, help our women who are joining back from, a break, to really not just survive, but thrive in their next. So I see a strong linkage with our own purpose as an organization, and the women that are joining, and that definitely kind of creates a level of connection that everyone feels with, why we exist. The second philosophy principle that we have is that we look at hiring, and I think Priyank also kind of mentioned this, is we hire to train. The women are coming with experience. We understand that they've taken a sabbatical, but they come as full-time. They're not coming as, interns. They're not coming as, trainees. They are coming as full-time. And a lot of the, women career attorneys do have that apprehension that how will I be able to settle in? How, there's anxiety. So at least the first step into an organization, I feel, is that of security. That yes, I'm coming as a full-time person. So I think those are two key philosophy elements in my head that I feel that, definitely have helped us to be successful, in the program. In terms of, the overall structure, I think that the way we kind of, we ensure that we understand the individual really well. have slightly deeper level conversations. There is, mentor assigned. There is a buddy assigned. We ensure that the buddy helps the woman to really understand the lay of that land, how to navigate and things like that. We have support groups, and we've seen that that works really well because it just helps the person to say that, okay, I'm not the only one. There are other people in the same spot as me, and I can connect with them. And that is pretty rampant, like pretty much used a lot by our women career attorneys. And then, of course, we have self-paced learning modules that are available. But I think what has extremely been a great learning for me, it has been to say that, you continue the discipline and the dedication towards not just having a program to roll out, but really having that discipline to continue through that and do a check-in regularly to see how's it doing, how's the individual doing, how's the overall program, continuing, and constantly trying to improve and iterate on that. I think that is the key element which really keeps, helps, stand apart one program from the other.
Thank you. Thank you, Divya Saigal. Before I move to summarize, I'd like to check with Hema. What are the changes you witnessed in GE's culture as a result of hiring second career women? Yes, you've already shared with us, Hema, but would you like to elaborate on that, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think, having said what is the kind of, visible advantages that they bring on, what I've also seen is that when they come on board, right, they help in positively contributing to our existing culture and help us sustain it more. And more importantly, so that, we spoke about how on the other side, we are helping them, assigning them buddies to, settle down and all of that. It's also on the reverse side, right? With our consistent focus on hiring from campus or from other talent pipeline sources, these are the people whom we actually look forward to, who actually have come back from for a second career or so, that they are already aware of the culture and they help us mentoring the newer talent, help us lead the internship committees. These are the people whom we look forward to, and ask them to come and help us lead the internship committees, or probably help us conduct some of our regular public events or employee engagement activities, to say how can we take it to the level that it was already, and that what will people like actually, or probably bring in an outside perspective to see how progressive should we be, what are we not seeing. That I think is a very, very big support that we get from this lot when they come on board and they help us mentor, become assignment leaders, and take on these committees, like mentorship committees or internship committees for that matter, that they bring in that experience and also expertise to handhold the newer lot, and help us bring, build a very strong culture. I think that's something that we can't really forego or probably delimit when it comes to the benefit that they bring on the board. So that's what I'd like to add
Right.
here.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Hema, for those thoughts. So if Divya Saigal focused on thrive and survive and very clearly elucidated that it's important to plan something, do that check, doing the plan, do check, act cycle. That's come across very strongly. I think that's also part and parcel of Publicis Sapiens fabric. Priyank embodied purpose, the purpose of doing this, the empathy that comes, give to receive. I think that came out very well. Thank you, Priyank. Divya Saravanan embodied structure, structure, structure. I think the way the way you've structured your thoughts, presented to us in a very clear and concise manner. Hema's focus on culture has given us some more food for thought, actually. Focus on the culture. And culture is something that's defined as what everybody does, given a situation, what everybody does at the same time. That's culture. That's the culture of the organization. So as we come towards the concluding portion, we have a good 20 minutes to go. I hope the participants have your questions ready. I'll proceed with the common concluding question. What is that one advice you can give talent acquisition participants with the audience today on how can we ensure that the second career women are given the opportunities to thrive and advance in their roles. You have already spoken, weave that in your narrative, but if you'd like to choose that one advice that you can give the TA participants on how can we ensure the success of the second career women we hire. Priyank, would you like to go first, please?
No, absolutely. I think I don't know if there is one advice which I can give, but I think there are a couple of them. One is obviously let's treat them as talent. Getting into a break or having a break in your career doesn't mean that you're not gonna get back to workforce. It's obviously your personal choice of how and why you decided to get on a career break. Give them the right treatment like you would to anyone else. Don't just assume they are available to join you, by the way, even if they get through. Second, this is extremely important. And while I don't see this happening in organizations of our size and repute, but I think let's not lowball someone on their salaries just because they were on a break. I think I tell my people the same thing. You got to treat them. You are hiring them basis their skills because they come through a competitive process. Please peg them at the same spot like you would hire a regular person. So let's not lowball anyone. Let's not discount their talent or experience which they had before the career. I think there are two advices there.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hema, what would be your piece of advice?
I would agree with Priyank, but I would also say that, there are two ways that we can advise. One is the TA partner who's actually hiring of them, that they will have to look at reskilling and upskilling as a very important element. We need to be able to support the the second career workforce with how can we help them understand what is the gap, how much, what is, to what extent has the gap been built, and what are the versions, and probably technically what kind of mentoring can you provide them, right? It's not only, your job doesn't start and end with, okay, I found you, I will fit you into this job and I'll offer you this kind of compensation, but it's also about how successful are you in the organization, how can I mentor you in helping you understand, how do you make your career successful, go one step beyond, and probably, I know it is a bit time consuming. So I think reskilling and upskilling is something that you will have to guide them with, and also
Absolutely.
be their mentor. That's one thing. But also on the other side, career people who are opting for second careers, they'll also have to look at it from a very different perspective, that they can't expect what it was like, right? They have to look at their 2.0. They have to look at how they will, gear up to this. And any kind of self doubt, that is something that they will have to leave aside and see how they will bring in that kind of change that is expected from the organization. Yeah, being rigid is not going to help either ways. I think that bit of flexibility from the TA side, and also the second career opting women, so to say, all of them, that flexibility of one step going forward, one step coming down is needed. That is something that I would say.
Yes, thank you, Hema. I think that also echoed Divya Saravanan's comment in the beginning that you blink and the technology changes. Some version, some new thing has come, and you even that 6 month maternity break. If a new product has been launched in the company, it's like, my God, I wasn't there when it was launched, and how do I get back into that fold? I took that break many years ago, and I still remember one particular product that was introduced in the company that I worked with, which was NIIT. I still feel I lost that out. So somewhere that's deeply embedded. So thank you for saying that this is upfront, saying that this is important. Yes, could I go with you, Divya Saigal?
Sure. I think that my advice would be to just lead with empathy. I think with the first step being to really, not keep it as a checkbox, but really understand the human, understand the person's challenges, aspirations, goals, personal constraints. I think the first step would be to do that, and then you look at customizing, seeing how to best to integrate, but just lead with empathy.
Great. Thank you. Divya Saravanan?
Yeah, absolutely. Divya, you actually touched the topic. So considering that many of you on the call are talent acquisition professional, I would like to start off by saying that anybody who would want to be associated with the returnship program they should be deeply invested in it and shouldn't be considered as a stepping stone in your career to a next level, or probably adding a brownie point because you're managing the return to work program, etc., etc. We have to be deeply invested. Second, like Divya mentioned, I think we are the cultural carriers, and I think each talent acquisition professional should only be talking about the advantages that we all spoke in bringing these talent in the workforce. Yes, there is disadvantage, there are training cost, etc., but I think we should only be looking at positives and how our organization can evolve. We should tell success stories of what is happening in other industry, what are other industry players doing. Sometimes what I have seen in Morgan Stanley, if I can use the Hindi terminology which says Ramban, is that if I go and say that other BFSI competitors are doing it, many of my technology leaders are going to agree without even having a wink, because we definitely want to be as competitive as our competitors are. So I think each one of you should go ahead and do that and talk about the success story. We have a challenge where we don't have a tool which talks about people with career breaks, while we have people with special abilities like PWD, etc. You can filter in our so-called leading job portals like Naukri, but we don't have career break, and that is where Avtar or many of these players come very handy. So we have been a proud partner with Avtar for many, many years. And if any one of you on the call, talent acquisition or not, then I think right after this call, you need to knock your TA head's door and say that let's onboard Avtar. So all the very best. And I think it's a great cause, giving it back to the community. And one small advice, let them be on a career break. I think we shouldn't be really asking why they were on a career break. It has nothing, we are not going to do anything about it. And we should also encourage the hiring managers, and just don't bring them for an interview for the sake of it. Give them a closure. Many a times people say that they called us for an interview, asked 4 questions and never came back to us, right? So I think we are famously infamous because of this, but bring closures to these people, because we are the only avenues that they have after the career break.
Thank you, Divya. Echoes, resonates quite a bit with all of us. So, with that, we have concluded all the questions from our side. Now, I would hand over to Janani. Before that, a big thanks to all the panelists. Wonderful interacting with you today. Great insights. Janani, over to you. If you can just pull out
Yes,
the
yes.
questions and direct them at the panelists.
Yes, Usha ma'am. So one question is how to create a source so that second career women come forward and apply. So I think the person is talking about how do you identify the roles for second career women. So we could have as many answers as possible for this. How do you do it here?
So I would like to start. I think all the roles that are open in your organization should be open to career returners as well, right? We can't really earmark at all. And that would be we don't have to earmark at all. What is available for us should be available for everybody.
Great, Divya. So I go to the next question. How do companies create a long-term career growth path for these second career women? So this is from Rampriya. Yes.
Okay, now I'll answer that. So, once you're in the workforce, you are responsible for your own career. We, of course, make sure that you get a smoother landing, because we expect that there might be some technology tools, ways of working, which you might be out of touch from. Post that, it becomes very competitive. It's for the 3 months which can handhold you, but you own your career. So there is no long-term career for women on break, because they're no more on break, that's how simple it is. But I think for every one of us, we are the ones who own our career, and it depends on us as to how we're going to make out of it, or what we're going to make out of it. Yeah.
I'd like to just add, I think that, as a best practice, it's important to keep, checking in to see how the woman is doing, and really keeping a track of their career, trajectory within the organization. I think that is something that, there might be times or phases where the need is something different. They need a little more flexibility. There might be other phases where there's some other kind of support required. So just, of course, you own your own growth, but also, to continue a check-in is something that is a good practice.
Great. Thanks, Divya and Priyank. So this is another question that comes from Lakshmi that says second career women returning to corporate flows often are faced with pay cuts from their previous salaries. In fact, Priyank even mentioned said that. And don't you think intentional managers like you proactively speaking about no pay cuts for second career women upfront will help these candidates? So
Can I take that? Probably after you, Priyank, if you have. Okay. Uh, so similar to what Priyank had touched base, right? As in, we will have to create a policy. For example, at Morgan Stanley, we have established a policy that at the time of we bring in people in a cohort model and at an internship model. So while their internship stipend might be different depending upon their experiences, etc., but there is a buy-in between a HR and the business that when they will get converted to a full-time opportunity with the organization basis their performance, they will be brought in very similar to what I would have brought a external candidate in, right? Now, for an example, if I have got somebody with 8 years of experience and a 3 years of career gap, if I have to hire today a 8 years experience with that skill set, we pick the person at the right comp and the right level, and the experiences are the break in the career doesn't warrant a pay cut, right? And I think today's workforce is aware of it, and we shouldn't really be taking advantage of the disadvantageous situation that the candidate is in, and we should be fighting for their comp. And I know that it is a business prerogative, but I think that is what I would want to add.
I would like to add here. I think it is a space where HR can play a huge role. I do agree that business has a prerogative, but then it is us who will have to let and drive the culture of hiring in such a way that we are keeping the job first and the benchmarking of the job in such a way that it is about the job and what the pay should be for that job and not who comes to do that job, right? I think that is exactly what we need to do. And this is where, every job is open for a second career option, or every job is open for everybody. And the same way that I would hire anybody, I would hire the second career women also. That should be our thought process. And I don't think that's exactly where, when we talk about equal pay or equal opportunity for everyone, there is no way that anybody can think about how do I get a pay cut here? How do I, get this person at a cost lower than what I would get a regular person like? So I think that is something that we will have to drive, and we should make the business understand that's not the way that we'll have to hire people at all. Maybe that's my thought process.
No, I'll
Completely
just
echo
quickly
that.
add, Divya,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I know I was just going to say I would completely echo that. Like, for example,
Absolutely.
in our organization, we don't do the pay cut. Like, so I think all organizations need to move in that direction.
I think there are a couple of interesting things which happen. I think the answers are covered, but if you look at a lot of other global markets, I mean, every organization is moving into the pay transparency laws, where you actually advertise what you're going to pay for a particular role. So Mastercard has been one of the early adopters. So we actually don't look at what you're earning right now, and this is true for everyone. Can be from can be I mean a regular hire. Can be diversity, not diversity, that's all fine. We pay for the role, like Hema also obviously alluded to it. If you are selected for a certain role, we work with the ranges. We don't lowball you. We tell you what is the best we can offer. And sometimes we don't even look at what the person was drawing last, and irrespective of the break or not on a break. So we don't even ask them those questions. We do our fitments, then we go back to them, and that's where the conversations begin. So I think we all should be very progressive when it comes to salary, because it's extremely important for us to be known as an equal opportunity provider plus an equal pay master for the roles which we offer for people. So I think that's very important for all of us. You can't have someone sitting at say 1% of the salary range versus the same guy doing the job. I mean, a different guy doing the same job at say sitting at 90%. So you can't have that variance in your system at all.
okay, and thanks so much, Priyank, Hema, and Divya. So Another question is, how does the role mapping happen for, how is it done for second career women? And there are two questions by the same person. And the next is, it's a different question. So you could pick which ones you would like to answer. How successful returnship program? How are returnship programs? What is the success of returnship programs in healthcare industry, especially where there are night shifts and and there is back office work? So these are the two questions from Arvis. Yes.
Probably I can take the first question. No exposure to the healthcare because we are part of BFSI. Now, to answer, very similar, there is no job categorization at all, right? And so, what everybody needs to understand that a second career women opportunity or a program that is run by many organizations, they don't get any entitlements or preferred treatment. Right now, they all are brought in. We encourage them, but they go through the same interview process. They go through the same assessment. They are given a fair amount. Now, the only difference is that probably we will not be testing you on the current technology. We will be testing you on something that you have done and how well are you able to articulate that you have done in the previous job. So there is no job category. Obviously, there are demands that are collected from various departments, and they will say that I need this person, this person. We might get we might get 8 or 10 PMO roles. We would get people aligned to those PMO roles if they bring in that experience. We have had Python, we have had mainframe, etc., etc. So there is no such categorization as such, and it is a meritocracy organization that we go through. And I will pass it on for the healthcare experts who are there in the panel to answer the second question.
Basically about roles with night shifts. So any industry that has a night shift, you could also take
yes.
a yes
Yes,
shot
absolutely.
at the industry. Yeah.
And like I said, I think night shifts today are available in a lot of organizations, even at BFSI, etc. And those are told upfront when the interview happens, and there is absolutely no difference between a second career or somebody coming in from the lateral market. If it is an issue for them, it is an issue for this market as well. So no special provisions are being made. However, and we are also not saying that this is the only opportunity that is available. So it is put on the job description. People apply voluntarily, and and we give them an understanding of what is in for you in case if you take this role, what are some of the monetary advantages that you would got and the safety advantages from a transport, etc., etc. And that is same for career women or men in the industry also, right? So we do that transparently.
Thank you, Divya. So I guess that answers your questions. And here is, what are some of the career growth plans you have created under the flagship program? So I think the person is talking about career advancement and yeah.
So, if I may just intervene here, I think this has been spoken about at length by each one of the panelists when they were giving their answers. Perhaps the last question can be, we have a participant who has shared a personal
Yes.
experience of being, felt that she
Yeah.
was being taken advantage of, where she was treated like a fresher despite having a 3-year experience. So how can this stereotype can be broken? It's what can a second career woman do to handle that kind of a bias? That couldn't be the last question. What is it that she should do to ensure, even if she faces that bias, how should she handle that bias?
Yeah. Maybe I can start off by saying that I think career returnee women, when they come and sit across the table, I have kind of managed this for the last 10 years, 7 years with Morgan Stanley. I see that they lack a lot of confidence, right? And they begin their conversation by saying that, I'm very nervous. This is my first interview after a career break, etc. I think it's an absolute no. You don't have to really be nervous, and you don't have to call that out. Go and talk to an interviewer like you would have met somebody, and don't consider this as an interview, but consider this as a conversation, and you would see that your comfort level increases, right? You can absolutely go and tell this person. The second one is that, hey, I am so and so. I have experience in this industry for the last XXX years. After that, I took a career break for reasons you don't have to say, and I'm back to relaunch my career. There is a lot of it to be as self aware person, and it is important. Do not have to show the nervousness, and in case if you think that the conversation is going in the direction where you're uncomfortable in etc., you can always pause and say that I would appreciate if you can focus more on the things that I have done in the past. Probably these are the things that I need to still refresh, or probably given an opportunity I will be able to do that. And in case if it still goes in a situation that you're uncomfortable in, absolutely raise the alarm and raise it to the HR partner who is coordinating with you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Divya. So, yes, so that brings us to the end of this discussion. Thank you so much, panelists, for narrating your experience of maneuvering second career returnship programs at your organizations, and the success stories, and how you have gone about building a very, very robust gender diverse pipeline, leveraging second career returnship programs. So we are sure our participants today have gathered a lot of insights into the benefits of it and are sure to implement it. Thank you so much to each of you for joining today's session. This is Janani Sampath signing off, and we will meet you all again at another exciting session from Avtar. Till then, stay tuned, take care.